How do you deal with criticism on such a public scale? I mean, it's one thing for somebody who doesn't have much of a platform, who's being vulnerable in front of friends, and often friends are unwilling to be vocal in their criticism, but anyone with a platform gets mercilessly criticized.
Yes.
How do you personally deal with that? You just said there were probably people in the classroom who thought it was the most inappropriate thing they've ever seen. I'm sure if we went online, just like if we typed in my name, we typed in, there would be public criticisms of you.
There have been many.
I'm so glad that you're vulnerable. I look at people like, I think one of the reasons Jordan Peterson is so effective is that man is so vulnerable.
He is vulnerable.
Yes. I don't know how he continues to do it.
Yeah.
While the criticisms are just being shot at him, he's still like crying on YouTube videos and just being moved to tears, and doesn't seem to be willing to shut that part of himself down.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God. But how do you personally deal with that? Because, I mean, none of us are infallible.
No, correct.
And those, you said there was 3 times or 2 times you wanted to shut that thing down. No doubt there were things that rose up in you to shut that thing down that seemed perfectly reasonable. This isn't appropriate. This is something that should be shared with those. So then when the criticisms come, they confirm those things that we're trying to throw the brakes on. And even as you sit here now, you're not 100% certain, I'm sure, infallible, certain, that you did the right thing. How do you deal with that?
I have to know that I'm loved, even if I got it totally wrong. Even if my critics are 100% right. I have to know, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Because my identity doesn't come from what you think of me.
Yeah.
But do I live that perfectly? Hell no, I do not. I would also say, as I look back at 25 plus years of having a ministry, in the public eye, that I've by necessity, I've learned more, again, not perfectly, but more how to straighten up and find my identity here. And if I'm looking for my identity here in what people are saying about me, it's a death trap.
Yeah.
It's a suicide rap. We got to get out while we're young, because tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Springsteen, sorry. It's a death trap. To seek my identity in what other people think of me is a death trap. When I went through some really painful public criticisms many years ago, it was really wrecking me. And I sought out one of my mentors. I remember last time I was on your show, we had a long conversation about the late, great Monsignor Lorenzo Albacete, who was a personal friend of John Paul II's, and I had the honor to know him over a 20-year period. He died in 2014. And I went to him seeking some consolation, because I knew he had been through the ringer of public criticisms and misunderstandings and all kinds of getting raked over the coals. And he knew a lot of these people who were raking me over the coals publicly. And seeking some comfort from him, I shared with him the woes I was experiencing in these really painful public criticisms. And he said 4 words that have stayed with me. He said, "Why do you care?"
And he meant it.
Yeah, he meant it. He lived it. This man did not care what people thought of him. He was free. He was living in a place of freedom. Not because he had his act together. Not because he had figured out how to function. He was quite a dysfunctional human being in many ways. But he knew he was loved there. He knew he was loved. And that captivated me. And I'm only slowly learning it.
Why do you care? That's great.
I was at a gathering just last Friday of theologians, scholars, like the real scholarly types. I'm a theologian of a sort. Mm-hmm. But I don't consider myself a scholar, right? I was with some real scholars. This is what they do, scholarship. I consider myself much more an evangelist. I dip into the scholarly world and I draw as much as I can, and then my goal is to regurgitate it, translate, like the mama bird who chews up the food and then That's not maybe the best image for my students. But anyway, that's what I consider myself. But I was invited to this. Every once in a while, I'll get invited to these symposia, if that's the right way to say it, where theologians and scholars are presenting their papers. I cannot read a paper for the life of me. No way. I can't do it. I'll share some key ideas and quotes and I'll read them, but I'm going to try to make a connection with my audience, not just read a paper. I can't do it. Anyway, there are all these scholars reading their papers. And at the end of the symposium, we had some nice conversation over some wine and dessert. And there was something I had said in my lectures that one of the theologians there corrected me on in the presence of these other scholars. And it was good correction. Something I was saying was kind of confusing the processions of the Trinity. Mm. And when she pointed it out to me, I was like, oh yeah, that's something I get. Yeah, I see that. I need to fine tune my language there. If that had happened to me 15 years ago, I would have been a mess. Because I was desperately looking for other people to tell me who I am, and particularly from theologians, because I was striving to be one, right? And I wanted the theologians to affirm me and give me some bennies and tell me how good a job I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Well, what I ended up getting was real public criticism from all the people that I wanted the bennies from, and it was great medicine. It was great medicine for my bent soul, seeking my identity in wrong places. Not that I didn't have a little bit of that shrinking feeling the other day when this theologian in the presence of other scholars pointed out I needed to fine tune my language and what I said was not correct. There was a little bit of a wah, 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 that feeling, but it didn't send me in a tailspin. But I have these little interior exercises like, okay, I know where my identity comes from. It doesn't come from what these people think of me. Thank you. I'm loved here. I'm not perfect. And I'm loved in my imperfection. I have to learn that lesson. I have to be taught that lesson over and over and over again.
This came to me in prayer in Krakow. It was in adoration and was just repenting for all the things I get wrong, all the things I say that are false, maybe the harshness I've expressed towards certain people. I mean, you do a lot of podcasts, you're going to say wrong things.
Yeah, sure.
I just felt really kind of overwhelmed by it. And I sensed the Lord say to me, and I know it was the Lord because I felt that liberation that comes after he speaks. I don't need you to be perfect. I need your humility and obedience.
Boom, that's Jesus.
Yeah.
That's Jesus.
And what I sensed in those words was almost like, you really think I need you to speak perfectly in order to convert souls? This is not what I need. Please. Girl, please.
Matt, that is freedom, brother.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below letting us know what you thought about the video.